Our infrastructure, both sewer and water, is too old. That speaks to non-revenue water. What I'm saying is that for every kiloliter or every dollar that we spend on purification of water, 42% is lost because of old infrastructure. That's poor service to our community. So our request to you, Chairman, is that we need funding to resuscitate our infrastructure so that the people of Bulawayo get water every 24 hours. The second challenge relates to funding. Accessing funding is very expensive. As a city, what we've engaged on is to bring in partners, people that can assist in us achieving quality service, ensuring that the local community gets water 24/7. We've seen a number of holes being drilled around the city. That's a way of ensuring that our people get the special, the liquid that we need every day. Then the other thing that is affecting the city is the source of water. We get our water from Mzingwane, Upper Ncema, Mchabezi, Lower Ncema, but these sources are very old. That was before we saw the number of wards or the city grow. Now we've got about 29 wards. Maybe previously they used to be less than 13, but the figure has since doubled. So we need more water. We are excited that the government is working on the Kwai Shangani, and as a city we are also pursuing the glass block dam. We are aware that the government is involved. We've just signed a purchase water agreement. So if all goes well, this project will soon be up and running. I think on that note, Chairman, thank you very much.
The Cowdray Park Hlalani Kuhle scheme. This scheme was handed over to council by the then Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Comrade Ignatius Chombo, in 2012. Cowdray Park is a self-funding scheme. When it started in 2012, the beneficiaries were asked to pay $50 per month per stand. But this was later changed to $15 US per month per stand. In 2018, when the currency changed from multi-currency to bond, the beneficiaries continued to pay 15 bond, which was later which later ceased. I mean, as we all are aware that 15 bond in terms of US dollars, we're talking of cents. So immediately after 2019, the contribution from residents, as I mentioned, that is a self-funding scheme, it ceased. So the scope of works in Cowdray Park in this project is, as I mentioned, provision of water, sewer, roads, stormwater drain, and public lighting. When we started this project in 2012, the estimated cost of works was $46 million US. Using the contribution, the donations, and the grants, we managed to get approximately $12,655,000 US. And with that, we achieved, in terms of progress, water is currently at 98% complete, roads 4% complete, What's the other one? Sewer is 33%. By saying sewer is 33%, what it means, there are some properties that have no sewer reticulation system. And in these properties, they are using black toilets. And with roads at 4%, what it means, there are properties that have got a restricted access. They've got challenge in terms of getting the refuse trucks to reach some properties or some stands or some houses. With regards to water, we're almost there. What is left is just 2%. It's just a few properties where maybe you are having challenges with the ground conditions or the people, the beneficiaries, are not coming forth to connect their water to council reticulation system. As I mentioned, that the original estimate for servicing was 46 million. The cost was carried out without a detailed design. But of late, we have since carried out the detailed design. And now the estimated cost of outstanding work, of what is remaining now, is estimated to cost 38,940,000. So the main challenge here in Cowdray Park is funding. As I mentioned that at the start, we asked for $50 and then later 15, and later they were paying nothing. Now there isn't any work on the ground because of lack of funding. Now we've been approached by Gwangu Ngagwami, a presidential title deed scheme, a government program. We are now embracing this intervention, and as council we made a resolution sometime last year to embrace Gwangu Ngagwami. And with Gwangu Ngagwami, we have been engaging them, and they've been consulting the residents in Cowdray Park. The latest development is that they've submitted their detailed design, and we have approved them in principle. There are minor snags that they are to attend to. I think with that, that's my presentation.
My talk is going to be on Ngozi mine, but I'll just touch on Hlalanokuhle Karikai in Cowdray Park, where I'm supposed to collect refuse. But the engineer has already highlighted that the collection of refuse requires access to properties. But with roads at 4%, it obviously means that I cannot commit my trucks to collect refuse from the doorsteps of these people because there is lack of access. So that is the challenge in Cowdray Park there. So I'm not collecting refuse from these properties where the access is limited or is not there. Then when it comes to Richmond landfill, popularly known as Ngozi mine, it is a landfill, a sanitary landfill that was commissioned in 1974, 1994 as the 12th refuse disposal site for the city. The first one having been commissioned in 1963. Those that are familiar with Bulawayo, there is this Obukazi school grounds. That's where we used to deposit refuse between 1963 and 1970. Thereafter, a few other sites were used for disposal of refuse, and the last one being Hyde Park, which is behind what is popularly known as number 6 or Perandawa Cemetery. Then from there in 1994 we moved off to Richmond landfill. It was the only for a long time, the only sanitary landfill that was approved. And from 1994, we had projected that it was going to last about 20 years. But the 20 years, obviously, we were way beyond that 24 years. At a landfill, we deposit refuse using the CCC, not the politics, please. We are talking of confining the refuse within a cell, and that is lined. And after we have confined the refuse, we compact it. That's the second C. And after the compaction, that meaning that we squeeze it such that the methane gas that is generated by the refuse has no chance of going up and igniting, or oxygen mixing with the methane and therefore causing a fire. But after the compaction, we then have to cover it to prevent access to flies and other vermin. But we have not been doing that as religiously as we should have because of lack of equipment. But that aside, the settlement itself, there is a settlement around Ngozi Mine or Richmond landfill site, which is both informal and illegal and temporary. I think let's underline the word temporary, because it exists as long as there is something being deposited in the landfill. As soon as the refuse stops coming to the landfill, the people will migrate and go away. To them, it's almost like a tent at work. We have seen those people who like, it used to be DTF, I don't know now that it's called the rural or something. Rita. Yes. If you know the Rita people, as they are fixing the road, they actually have tents. They will move the tents. As soon as they are finished with the road, they move with their tents and go away. So we expect that settlement, as soon as we decommission the landfill, the settlement will dissipate and the people will go elsewhere. Because some of the people have houses within the city. There are about 1,500 of them. But they have houses within the city, but those houses are too far away from the landfill. So to make it easy for them to get to the landfill, they actually choose to put up some shacks or other such, and then they collect whatever recyclable valuables they can from the refuse and sell it from there, because the buyers come and collect from the site. So they just stay there, they collect the refuse. Some of them go away over the weekends to their proper houses. And then weekend, Monday to Friday, they migrate back to the workplace. So as soon as we decommission the landfill, they will disappear. Because they have been there at Hyde Park there, and I'm sure they followed us to Richmond. And wherever we're going to go next, if we're going to have a landfill, we expect them to follow us. So in short, we have no intention of regularizing the settlement and making it or improving it, because we believe it is temporary. So with those words, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will close my presentation.
Good morning, everyone. All protocol observed. I will make short presentations on the three settlements. I'll begin with Stojiwe. Stojiwe is one of our social housing projects, which was done in the early 50s, 1950s. It was intended for bachelors who were working in the industry at the time. So with time, the settlement grew when the bachelors started bringing their families to the site. So after some period, when congestion started to come in, council had to make some interventions. Around 2000, early 2000, council had to plan for decommissioning the Stojiwe flats. The Stojiwe flats, maybe I have to add, we have 159 units there, which is comprised of 3 blocks of flats. In 2000, council had to enter into PSIP funding, where we had to start some housing project to build formal housing units to decommission CITE View. At the time, the money managed to build 167 housing units, where some beneficiaries were moved from CITE View to the Millennium Housing Project. We usually call it the Millennium Housing Project. It's at Mkanwe. But some beneficiaries remained. Those 200 stands were fully serviced, 63 remained unbuilt. Then there was the Mrambatswina, if you all remember. After we had some blocks decommissioned this site, council had to take in some people on those decommissioned blocks on humanitarian grounds. The flats were occupied again. Now, with that, we didn't sit because the problems now remained of congestion. We had to start again. The process now is trying to finish off the Millennium Project in order to decongest and decommission this CITE View. So as I speak, we are on the ground building 25 units in Mkanwe, where we intend to move the remaining people at CITE View and then completely decommission CITE View, because there is a council resolution to that effect. But the progress is slow on the 63 stands because of funding, which has already been mentioned. But we are moving at a snail pace. I'm sure I'd hoped maybe you were going to see the Millennium site because it's linked to CITE View. Yes, but as it is, CITE View is really in a state of disrepair. Like I indicated, it was done in 1954 as a bachelor's flats units, but now it's occupied by families. Our infrastructure is really in a bad state, but we are not seated. We do general maintenance. We have a budget for that, and we have regular engagements with the residents to help keep the area in a state of cleanliness. And of course, the rentals are nominal. There are people who are sharing the housing units. Those pay $6 each. Then those who are not sharing, they pay $12 a month. They are on month-to-month tenure. I'm sure we've also encouraged those who get better income to move to areas where there are stands. We've offered them stands here in Cowdray Park. I think it's about 5 or so years ago. So some people came and got stands this side, and we are still open to those who are able to move out there and help us decongest the CITE View. In a nutshell, I'll say that's for CITE View. Then Burombo is also another place which is also a social housing for us. It was also done long back, 1954. That's when it was built. It has also 159 units. It was also done for the bachelors. But as we speak now, Chairman, we have families there. And there is a lot of congestion there. We expected to have about 159 people, but we were talking of plus or minus 1,000 people, which is really bad. And that has put a strain on the infrastructure in terms of sewer and water. And there is a lot of vandalism. We've done a lot of refurbishment of the sewer and the water there. I'm sure you'll see that evidence. But the congestion and the vandalism have been quite a lot. But we've always called the committees, because we've established committees in both areas whom we can engage directly concerning their welfare. What we planned for Burombo is to do the refurbishment in stages. There is Mashumba just adjacent to Burombo. We wanted to decommission block one at a time, while least we refurbish those blocks. So we had to refurbish toilets at the adjacent area, so that when the refurbishment starts, we can be moving people in batches. Because the problem mainly is on the toilets So we'll decommission the toilets, make them use the adjacent place while we are doing the repairs. Most of the materials for that have been bought. We have that in stock to do that. In addition, we've also encouraged those who are able to pay for stands, to get those stands. We allocate those stands, but so far there have been few takers on that aspect. And then on Iminyela, Mabutweni, maybe I'll also say something in brief. Iminyela Mabutweni also was for bachelors when it was started, long back. In the 80s, council embarked on trying to improve those housing units. They are in a block where there are four people who are supposed to be staying in one block. So now again, with families, those blocks became small and they were having communal toilets. Now, with the policy then for home ownership, people had to have individual toilets in order to get home ownership. Council then embarked on surveying the whole place. In fact, the planning was done. The place was planned, surveyed. What remained was upgrading the sewer system, the water system. I'm sure the engineer will speak more on that. Then the toilets project started, where the houses were being upgraded from single units to 3 units plus a toilet for each individual block. We didn't manage to finish in Iminyela with about over 2,000 units. We've managed to do about 400 to date. We still have a project which we had started again for building more toilets in order to promote the home ownership and improving the welfare of those residents. That project is moving at a snail pace because the engineer still has a lot of work to do concerning that project. I'm sure maybe the amounts that are wanted now, they are quite a lot. I'm sure on the toilets process only, we're talking of over 9.5 million USD that is required. I'm sure the engineer also needs quite a lump again for putting the roads and upgrading the sewer and water.
Okay, good afternoon, honorable members, ministry officials. I'm Councillor Mhlanga, in Ward 15. I brought you to this area so that you can have a general appreciation of the challenges. One of the challenges that we are facing in Cowdray Park, I would have wished that you are touring for a week or two so that we show you many of these kinds of challenges that we are facing. This is supposed to be a road where we are standing. As you can see, we've got rocks. Imagine if this house catches fire or if there is an emergency, someone must be attended by an ambulance. What will happen? This is one of the examples of what we call a dysfunctional settlement. Maybe I'll leave the rest to engineer activity to explain further.
The challenge here, ladies and gentlemen, is the rock bed and the rock outcrop, which is within the road servitude. In the road servitude, that's where we put stormwater drain services like water mains and the sewer lines. So at the moment now, it's very difficult for us to trench or even to form our road here. The unfortunate thing is in Cowdray Park, the houses were in place well before we started servicing. So now, for us to blast this rock is becoming very, very difficult with the houses just a few meters away from the area to be blasted. So that's the main challenge. We've tried to use a powder on some of the rock outcrop, but we're not getting any joy. So we just want you to appreciate the challenges that we have in terms of the ground condition that we encounter within a Cowdray Park Hlalani Kuhle scheme.
Engineer, maybe after you are done with your phone, you seem very busy on your phone.
I want to take note of your query, your question.
Yes, engineer, are you familiar with the system of damp blasting, which is used in sensitive areas like this to break this rock into pulp without disturbing this? Are you familiar with it as an engineer of the city of Bulawayo?
No, not familiar.
Hold. You're not responding. We'll give you the chance to respond. Hold. Another question.
Yeah, in your question, I don't go for none. Ne honorable Buto. Kuti ma aruti tika blaster ma tomba pane dzimba algo kwanza dzimba. Kuti one is way kuti akabvorwa matombo maburi anoswa porridge mukatu. Within 24 hours ananga kreka osaya even kusara ata sitibagara sanduchi akutokwasa kuto ngono even neshapo kungo izvo zvipako vakomana vakatenga mishini yavo vanotoya vakadhirila vatombodhirila kustendi kwangu last week vanga kawanda kutodarika vanga vakadhirila kutanga makuseni kusvika zuva rakutovira vangapedza kurova maburi about 36 maburi ndobva vaisa pauda yacho manheru mangwana makuseni anenge akreka ose saka haisi nyaya iyoyo.
Then you respond now.
Honorable Chair, what we are seeing here has got nothing to do with lack of funding. This is pure negligence. The local authority doesn't care about the people who reside in this area. If they had stands in this area, they would have opened the road. But that is not my question. My question, Honorable Chair, is with regards to the issue of funding that has been raised. Without money, the local authority cannot do miracles. And I want to believe everyone here understands that it is the responsibility of the central government to provide a off-site infrastructure. Because I think we agree the rates which are being paid by the residents, they are not enough to provide the off-site infrastructure. I'm just giving a brief background, Honorable Chair. And
question.
No, are you responding to me or what?
No, it's all right. Through the chair, let's give him the opportunity. Honorable,
right. So the question is, from the inception of this, no, Mahash, you cannot respond.
No, it's please.
You cannot respond to me. You're not the chair.
Give me the opportunity as the chair.
The chair to chair this meeting.
Let me chair. Order. So give us the question.
The question now, Honorable Chair, is that how much funding has been availed by the central government to address the challenges that are prevailing in this area?
Thank you. Can you respond, Council and the local government?
In terms of there is one honorable who mentioned about a system that we can use. We are saying we will look into it.
Let him respond, okay? Let's give him the chance. Go ahead.
We'll say we will look into it. And there's the issue of the porridge? Myself, we normally call it the powder. We will also continue trying the powder. But as the honorable mentioned, the key challenge here is funding. Whichever means that you use to extract the rock here, the current rate is about $30 per cubic meter to extract a rock. So the key thing, we don't have funding to do anything. It could be rock removal or putting a road here. We don't have funding. This is why the priority list is we started with water, which is currently at 98. And on our priority list, what is second, it's sewer reticulation. So once we are done with sewer, we will focus on road and stormwater drainage construction. I thank you.
Ndio hlalani kuhle yeBulawayo. Ndio pa Nziki pa center yehlalani kuhle. Area yedu ino ndini councilor wacho zita rangu kuti ndonzi Nkosinathi Hobe Mpofu. Zvamaona patatenderera pesa apa. Ndio ward yacho tangoti tifambe nenzira 1 asi dzakawanda. nyaya iri pano ndeyekuti nzvimbo ino yatiri haina sewage. Hapana sewage. Mvura yamuri kuona iyi muroad, mablade toilets amakafuratira aya azara. Saka patinenge tichifosera kudira mvura kuti zvidzikire, ndiyo mvura inodhuka ichiva pasenta. City council inotraya, asi kubvira pakaitwa handover yacho tichibva kuprogramu yegovernment na2012 hapana zvati zvanyanya kubatika nenyaya yekuti city council iri kuti haina maresources. Saka nhasi tinofara because kwauya ofisi hombe yenyika kuti zvatinochema nazvo muende munozvibata kuti nzvimbo yedu inake. Nzvimbo ino ine over 15,000 ma households. Yakadaro yese, ndingangoti yese zvayo haina masewage andataura, hakuna maroads. Iyi yatatoedza kufamba nayo ndiyo inopota chimbogadzirwa necity council, but tinotenda government through the Ministry of Finance vakambotibatsira pakatara pamtara yemamboona iyayi. Saka takange tine tarisiro kuti pamwe ichapedziswa itenderere isvike kunoku. Now problem yatinayo chamunoonapo chikoro icho, vana vedu ipapo vanobva kwesoko nenguva yemvura vakwanisi kusvika ipapaya nezvinenge zvakaitika panapa. Tina macases amadeath vari kudonhera mumvura idzodzi dzinenge dziine suwa. Saka as the councillor ndiri kuti inini tibatsireiwo segovernment muchibatana necity council yenyu mwana wenyu kuti nzvimbo yedu inake, ive namaroads, ive namaschools. Chikoro chatinacho i1 ichochi primary namablocks mashomanene asvingasviki 3. Hatikwani pachikoro ichocho, hapana. Mastenzi ecity council okuti zvikoro zvivepo anenge aripo, but city council inenge isina capacity to develop there sokutaura kwazvinenge zvichiitwa from the finance department. Saka regai ndisire madepartments council so that va elaborate more on our challenges. But from today I hope kuti this time takuya pana kekupedzisira, because takauya gore rakapera, tikauya futi gore rakapera museri namaministers ese, nzvimbo ino inozikamwa, mazvoona kuti hapasi kudini, hapasi kufambika. By right tofanira kunge tichiconnecta road tichidzokera uko, but hatikwanise kusvika ikoko. Ndaishura kuti dai tafamba netsoka tambosiya mota tinosvika ikoko kuti challenge yacho tiione zvakanyanya. Saka seprogramu yakagara yafomewa negovernment ikatibatsira, because takange tisina kukugara. So the idea yegovernment kuti tizogara pano tinoikurudzira zvakanyanya, yakanaka. Asi chasara ndechekuti papedziswe kuti tigone kugara zvakanaka, because hatisi kugara zvakanaka, tine zvirwere, tine zvinhu zvakawanda zviri kutishungurudza paarea yedu inoyi. Thank you.
Kuhle kuba sibe silapha sibonisa lento le esikhangeleyo. Into ngamela ukuthi ngabe iyenzeka le. Kubi ukuthi abantu abedrobheni balokhu besebenza ama-blade toilet awemakhaya. Ngakho ke ngibona nganto isiqokoqela sendaba asondaba yokukhombana ngeminwe, kodwa indaba yokuthi sihlale phansi sonke sifaka amakhandida ndawonye ukwenzela abantu laba abahlala ezindlini lezi bengahlali so. So we don't want to be blaming government, we don't want to be blaming city council, we don't want to be blaming anyone. We want to find a solution. I want us to come out of this place silama solutions ukuthi kona sicabangani ngento le njalo sifuna ukwenzani ngento le. How do we mobilize resources to solve this problem, because this is a crisis and we cannot afford to live a crisis like this. Silokhu sifuna ukudlala politics, sifuna ukudlala ugame mbonani ukuthi mina ngifuna ukubona ukuthi yimi engikhuluma kakhulu, mina ngifuna ukubona ukuthi mina yimi engilamazwi aqatha, mina ngifuna ukubona ukuthi njani akusebenzi lokwa. Okusebenzayo ukuthi kona what do we do going forward as a people? We all have 5 brains here and we need to use them to find solutions for the people of Cowdray Park. And it's our job and our duty, both council and government, to make sure that we come up with that. So I hope today we have that.
My question is directed to Minister of Local Government. Ndoda kuti ndibvunze kuti hapana urongwa here hwakakwanisa kuita kuti Cowdray Park inge yakazvimirira like zvatinoona zvakaitwa nachitungwiza Epworth local board sinzambozwa kuti yakaitwa handover kuBulawayo City Council muna 2012 It's now more than 14 years. But it seems as if as soon as famba zvakanaka maybe blouse it comes in zvakawanda. Pama ku development ifambe tone service delivery improve maybe inoda kuva independent. Sada uzwa local government kuti urongwa upi hwaingaite kuti izvimire Cowdray Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I think the issue of separation of Cowdray Park has been discussed in government. After I realized that it's bigger than Rwanda, and the population is high, and that one I think it's a work in progress. I think we'll just verify in which portfolio is not being discussed.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Jonga.
Yes. Tinotenda basa rakaitwa. Ndaona pane malines emagetsi kuratidza kuti vanhu vari kuda development yavo. Asi chinhu chandirwadza inyaya yesewer system. Pane here zvati zvavepo zviri maringe nekuti siwa yacho inzi inoda kuiswa because hapana patamboona pane mbone trench inoratidza kuti siwa pane effort inoda kuiswa kuti siwa inzi yavepo. Kana pipe yataona kana 1 inoratidza kuti apa pane initiative iripo. Hapana. Asi magetsi taona pataura zvemvura unzi pa 98%. Ko siwa chiri kukonesa kuti inzi ivepo. Kwai kunoflodera kwacho hakupo here, hapana here painofanira kufamba napo kuti siwa inzi iripo. Because mablayer toilets sure anosvika paanozarawo. Asi siwa yacho initial stage yacho imburi papi. Pane plan here yokuti siwa ichafamba so. Nokuti kubva 2012 kusvika nhasi pasati pane way forward yekuziva kuti siwa ichafamba sei. Tichiziva kuti munhu kana adya akapedza anoda kupinda mutoilet. Guys, let's be serious.
Thank you, Honorable Jonga. Council, can you respond? Okay.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu ibizo lami ngusikhululekile Moyo ukansila ka Ward 17 ngu-Vice Chairperson we-Health Housing Committee koBulawayo. I-answer to ama-problems onke wona lawo ngikwangu kwami. Yona lesibuyile yezosolve ama-problems onke lawa esawachiyelwa kwi-handover ka-2012. Ngoba uhlupho lolo lukhulu into eyenzakele yaba above i-council. So I think i-government isibuyile back le program yona leyo esicabanga ukuthi izasincedisa ukuthi si-solve ama-problems onke wona la esikhuluma ngawo ama-sewer lama-black toilets agcweleyo lama-roads. I think you ebuye le answer to all these things. Esithemba ukuthi ama-members of parliament bazakuzwisisa ukuthi kule mali eziyabe ziphuma futhi kuzakhamizi sezibuya zona zazivele ezibhadala ama-stands sezibhadala futhi ukuthi zilungiswe. So i-answer isikhona lobu ibuhlungu.
Can I cement? Yeah. Just to cement her response. We are saying the problem is funding. And as an intervention, we got Ngwami. Ngwami has submitted the detailed designs. So the issue of plans, where this sewer is going, what needs to be done, we have approved it in principle. It's a matter of time. We hope they will be on the ground in the coming months. It could be 2-3 months. So we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel.
We are at Ngozi Mine. Ngozi Mine is the Richmond sanitary landfill site. Ngozi Mine is just a colloquial name derived mostly from the activities of collecting refuse for recycling purposes, which the director spoke about earlier on. One major issue about this area are the spontaneous fires which take place here, leading to large clouds of smoke, which affect Richmond and mostly Cowdray Park. So that is the major issue around this area, because during the dry season, when those fires flare up, they can really be difficult for the city to contain. Efforts are usually made to contain them in the shortest time possible, but the challenge is that during the dry season, it becomes very difficult. So the whole area will be engulfed in thick black smoke, and obviously that presents respiratory challenges. It will be difficult to breathe for the surrounding settlements. So we have also had conversations about resolving this. The director mentioned a number of possible solutions in the morning when he was presenting. So I'm just going to leave it here without undoing his presentation that he had already made. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. After once more, ladies and gentlemen, like the councillor of the area has said, this is our Richmond landfill site, and this is our way bridge, which is going to be commissioned fairly soon. It's under installation. There were some procurement challenges with the contractor, and therefore there were some delays, but very soon it's going to be functional, we hope, by the end of this month. Beyond this, what looks like a mountain here, there is a settlement, and it is that settlement which I think is within your brief, because these people follow these tracks just from the main road where you turned off from the tar. They actually stand there, waylay the trucks, anyone who is trying to deposit anything here, to try and salvage whatever valuables or recyclables they may be in that particular vehicle. So they actually jump onto the vehicles to ensure that they are the first ones. And maybe we even have small territorial wars here, because the people, they kind of specialize in terms of the recyclables. There are those that collect paper, plastic, metal, or any other. And the ones that collect metal are the ones that give us the greatest challenge. Because when it's dry like this, metal does not burn, so they can set the whole landfill alight, they will collect their metal, the others will suffer, they don't care. And then we end up with a fire. So some of the fires are not exactly spontaneous, but they are deliberately started. But the community themselves, they stay around, they are dotted around this whole area. Where is my officer? He can tell us the hectarage of this place and the number of people. All I know is that there are over 1,000, but it's a dynamic population. There are 1,000 today, they can be 2,000 the following day, and they can be 700 the other day. Last week, unfortunately, wherever there's a population, some of you who survive on populations will try and be very nice to them. So I know Zek comes and puts the polling post there, and they make sure that they are registered and they vote. And I also come in with my vaccination team, and we vaccinate the children there, because to us, we don't want to leave anyone behind or any place behind, because those people may harbor diseases. So we vaccinated them last week for polio, and we can give you the numbers. I think I don't have them offhand, but we vaccinated their children there who were eligible. So we have a population there. Maybe you can take over and tell us how many people there are.
Thank you, Mr. Sbanda. It's about 1,200 people within the landfill site. Mostly about 800 of them are based here, whilst the others are coming from the surrounding suburbs, though they live here for a few days and maybe weekends they go away. So the suburbs which are here, there's this one here, we call it Emadwaleni, just behind the office here, because there are rocks behind. Then that other one behind this mountain is called Makokoba of landfill. It's densely populated with a very young population. So those are the suburbs that are here.
I wanted to check with you whether you consider this a crisis in terms of the livelihood of people that are living around the dumps, in terms of the drivers that are bringing the dump from the community. Would you consider this a crisis? Because if you create crisis out of procedures that you seem to enjoy and elaborate to explain to us that we must learn procedure, when people are suffering and the smoke is going into people's lungs, and the president is saying, you give the government a bad name. I'm not being personal, I'm just saying in general. Is this a crisis?
Yeah, I think we've always considered it as a crisis, and we've made interventions. Like what the director has alluded to, our main problem is shortage of machinery and equipment for compacting, confining, and covering. Hence, if we had the enough equipment, we are not going to talk about fire, smoke, and whatever. So esifisa ukuthi abantu bakuzwisisa even abahlali bakobulawayo ukuthi asibukelanga sigoqa izandla njengomanisipala wakobulawayo. Lokho esikubonayo lathi kuyabe kusihlukuluza, sifisa ukubona abantu bethu belempila kahle enhle. Kodwa siyabe sihlutshwa ngumumo wezomnotho, wonke umuntu okhangeleyo njalo ubonayo ukuthi izandla zethu zibotshiwe. Siyazama lathi siyakwazi ukuthi kule procurement processes khathesi bangamfakazela abahlali beCowdray Park ukuthi since sibe le hired equipment for compacting and confining and covering bekungcono kakhulu kuSmoko ebesikhona. So esibukhangelele ukuthi lathi njengosilamhla silomzali wethi central government isincedise ukuthi sithole enough equipment for compacting, confining and covering the landfill.
Okay. Thank you for the responses. I think we are done. Maybe just to save to thank you. I think for the waste management which you are doing here, I think there's room for it. There's room for improvement once the resources are available. Yeah. So we want to thank you for the good work which you are doing. We really appreciate. So we just push. We're going to deliberate in our committee. Our recommendations, I think they are going to be considered. But thank you for the good work. I think we need to move on to Iminyela. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Salbonani everyone. Bekule project number one to extend Lokuyaka Ama toilet. Unfortunately, 10 toilets were only made. Then we stopped because Bekule survey would know we want to do Ama roads, Lama proper pipes and sewer. So as we stand now, we only managed to do 10 toilets, waiting for the surveyors to come and survey the place, then make some recommendation for the opening of new roads, and new pipes, the sewer and water.
Maybe to take over the elaborate, maybe if you look, let's look at this site, you'll notice there is a block of rooms. There are rooms there. This side and this side. This side we have 2 housing units. They were 1 room each. Then the other side is the same format. So council has subdivided the units into 2 stands. There is a surveyed plan that was done. The individual now on one side is now able to extend the property and be able to build an individual toilet within the confines of a state. Just like the toilet we are looking at, you'll notice the other end, there is someone else there. They've done their own toilet. And this side, they've done their toilet. They can now extend coming towards this road. We already have pegs surveyed, it's all done. But now, for them to get home ownership, they need all of them to have these individual toilets. And out of in Iminyela, we have about 1,400 stands. Only about 200 or so have managed to have toilets like this. But we have limitations where if everyone was to build their toilets, we can't accommodate the sewer system because it was done for a few people. And to be able to do that, such that everyone is able to be connected, we need a lot of capital outlay in terms of sewer systems, in terms of water, which needs to be to upgrade the rest of what is there now. So as a result, when we started the 10, the engineer noted the limitation of our sewer system. So he has taken out to do a resurvey of the place in terms of how he will upgrade the system. That process, I think, is ongoing. He has asked for the survey, the tachometric survey. I think it needs about 200,000 to get going, so that now we can move a bit faster with the upgrade of the toilets.
Thank you. I am the area MP for this place. So maybe to demystify the whole thing, this suburb Iminyela was originally built for bachelors. It wasn't for families. It was a suburb where our fathers left us in the rural areas there, and he would only come here to work during the weekend. He comes to Eka to see us. So you discover that most of these houses were just one room, because it's meant for what? A bachelor. But now, because of the urbanization and the expansion of the urbanites that have come in here now, Honorable Chairman, families are now staying in these same bachelor rooms that are supposed to take care of one person. Now they are taking care of a whole family. So you must also then realize that even the sewer system, the water systems were made to cater for just that small number of people that were supposed to stay in this suburb. So obviously then when this happens, everything is overwhelmed. The sewer system is going to be overwhelmed, the water system will be overwhelmed. So now, like I said earlier on when we were in Cowdray Park, this is now a point where council, government, and even the private sector come together. We form private-public partnerships. I remember sometime in 2013 here, we had an organization that came in here and they were helping people to build toilets on Alawis Kumangao, because I had cried for ownership for these stands so that these people get title deeds. And so one of government's prerogative to give title deeds was to say you must have your own toilet system. Because right now what is happening here is a serious crisis. You have one toilet being shared by maybe 4 families. You understand? So if ever there is an outbreak of any sort, we are going to have a crisis. There's going to be a queue of people trying to get into that toilet, and it's just myopic. So, Honorable Chair, I think our take as the committee here now is to say, how do we go back there and sit down and encourage council, encourage government to form partnerships with private players so that these things are expedited. We don't expect government or council to have money to solve all these, all these problems. These problems are all over Bulawayo. The director of finance here will tell you that he's overstretched. He can't meet everything. But now this is the time when we need to say, how do we outsource? How do we think outside the box? How do we engage other players to come in and help us? Like what I'm saying about the NGO that came here. It would come and provide money for the people to build toilets, and then people will start paying bijana, because that's what they can afford. They can afford to do it at once. So our scope, our main focus here is to say, how do we now energize that? How do we synergize that to form these things, to solve these problems? Because these are crises. But these are crises that now need us to be bigger than politics, to be bigger than grandstanding. We now need to say, Toyota say, Senze and Jan. Would we come to this? So I thought, as the area MP, I must clarify this thing. Which is now housing families. So therefore, it means that there's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to stretch ourselves and make sure that we come up with a solution. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any contributions? Any comments? I think we are done here. So, but maybe let me just applaud the government through the Minister of Local Government Public Works and also the Minister of National Housing. I think they are coming up with this urban renewal and modernization agenda. I think these initiatives, we welcome them. So like the Honorable is alluding to the fact that maybe we need to bring in the private-public partnership so that we amass and bring in and mobilize resources so that we ensure that our people, they've got accommodation, our human settlement policy is adhered to. Thank you so much. I do submit.
Okay, from here we're going straight to Burombo.
So we're now going to Burombo, that's the next destination. And
that's our major problem here. Now the infrastructure is now overburdened because it was not designed for a lot of people. We also have about 1,000 people or so living here. our main worry, our main efforts are on trying to upgrade the sewer system mainly, and the ablution facilities, because they are now overwhelmed. We've done that where we've replaced the old type of ablution facilities and put new ones. But because there's so many people, they've always been vandalized every time we replace. So we are engaged with the beneficiaries to say we decongest the place by using various ways. We have said those who can afford stands, we allocate them on first preference, because our social housing infrastructure is not moving very fast. We only earmarked the Stochiwe ones to move to the millennium housing, which I spoke earlier about, because those ones we want to decommission the Stochiwe. Stochiwe is exactly like this in terms of the buildings. We have 3 blocks of flats. They're just like these ones in terms of appearance and everything, even the problems. Here we are charging a nominal fee of $18 per family, per room. Of course, they are struggling to pay, but we are always in touch. We engage them. If you notice the place is clean, we engage them to also play a part in terms of the cleanliness of their place, and encourage them to report timeously when there is a sewer or water-based. Otherwise, in a nutshell, that's what I can say for now. Maybe we can entertain questions if there are any.
Siyalemukela lonke ngezandla zonke bakithi. Thina udube silalo lapha. Njobana selipotile nje labona amaphayiphi kwadabuka kudala. Basifakela sibila amanye kodwa kuthi uthi ayengaqinanga. Abuya adabuka futhi. Nxa sisiya khona ngale siflasha konke kuphumela ngaphi phandle. So iudubo esikhala ngalo kakhulu ukuthi siyacela ukuncediswa ukuthi lisifakele amaphayiphi amatsha, lisincedise njalo ngamagetsi, asilamagetsi bakithi. Sile 3 years kathesi sihlala emnyameni. Lapha amagetsi asuka bamba umntwana Nthembalezwa wafa. Abuya acitshwa lalamhla lokho esemnyameni sinjalo. So siyacela ukuncediswa loba kusidingela njenye indawo lisakhela izindlu ke lisikhiphe kulezi. Liyesifakela lathi mbongama 2 rooms mbongama 3 rooms. Lapha sihlala kuma 1 room njana libona. Akula private esiyenzayo ngazo kodwa uzayenza kuphela lobu ungafuni. Nxa siyenza abantwana babe benjani bekhangele. Abantwana lapho uzakubona phandle sokusenza njalo. Abantwana bethu abanengi sebezele abantwana bebancane ngenxa yokubona khona okukhane sikwenzayo. Siyacela bakithi, siyacela liyasicelela futhi kuhulumende ukuthi siyacela lathi ukuthi ke sidingelwe igceke sakhelwe njengama 2 rooms okunye sizabona lathi sesiphakathi. Simthwalise nzima ubaba lo kuthiwa Mathwase ofisini. Simthwalise nzima sibe khona Mbijana. Mathwasa siyacela lathi phela lisifakela amagetsi. Siyacela phela lathi lisinike izindlu siyehlala. Kodwa sithola impendulo. Lamhla Themba sizayithola impendulo njobana lizela sicabanga lathi eBurombo lasukuma. Kuthi ukuthi uNkulunkulu ungenele phakathi kwakho iBurombo le sithwele nzima badala eBurombo. Akulanto enhle sibili. Okunye yebo yithi siyawona lathi asibhadali rent. Yebo kodwa babe betholile labo bajikijela irent. Okwenza singayijikijela irent leyo igas. Sesebenzisa igas. So yatuthola kulidolo yethenga igas upheke 1 day kuphela. Kusasuthole upheke futhi 1 day kuphela. So yiludubo lukhona ukuthi sicanda izosifakela amapipe. Lempompi zone ziyane zamanzi akusela ilokhuzene ngaphansi. Amachuba lana ahambisa amanzi ukuthi aphume phandle. Nxa sivula kwaphana kwabe kusiba ngamadamu phakathi. siyacela lisilungisele ngiyabonga.
In summary, they are saying they've got, I think, 3 issues. First one, the rotten pipes, sewer pipes, and even water. Number 3, there is no privacy. As adults, I think you should entertain your family, but there is no privacy. Okay. The children are able to see what the adults are doing, and very soon they also practice. What they see, yeah. Okay. So the other thing is that they don't have electricity. Yes, so they are asking if they could be assisted.
So maybe I think you will give it back to the council. Eh?
Yes.
Can you respond?
Okay.
There's a council, Lower City Council. Can you respond?
Director of Finance said the other challenge that they are failing to pay their rates because the few cents that they get, they opt to buy gas because there is no electricity. So now, since they buy gas, it's finished, they buy gas, they ended up not paying to the local authority. Then they were appealing to the government, would maybe if they can be social houses, so that they can get 2 rooms each or whatever, but they can try their level best to pay or do something if they can be provided with that accommodation just for the human dignity.
So maybe we'll give the opportunity to the local authority to respond to the issues which have been raised by the residents. So over to you, acting town clerk.
Yes,
just your response.
I will also coordinate you so that they also hear. Yeah. Siyabonga koko inkulumo ikhulumileyo. Ilizwe vele kuthwala kiwa ngobani asizameni ukuthi lathi ngapho sifuqeni amabhuku siwakhangelile sibili alibhatali. So ke asincedisaneni lathi siyaqoqoda lapha esiqoqoda khona ukwenzela ukuthi indawo le ivuselelwe. Lapha sizathola khona sizabuya. Udubo lwenu silalo khona ngale. So ke lapha silandwe ngabazali ukuthi labo bezobona ukuthi into esihlala sikhuluma ngayo imi njani. Namhlanje bazibonele. Kodwa lathi siyathembisa ukuthi asoze sihambe kokuphela sizabuya.